openness, but that's what the scripture says. So that's why during marriage, Salakia, during marriage, a man basically he pays a certain fee for a woman. So it's like he's buying the woman, off the father, so it's a possession that he takes on to himself. And then it says he gets a help like unto himself and a pillar of rest. Because like a pillar is something that rests on something. Like the scripture said, like the earth sits on pillars. So it sits, it rests. So a good woman, a good wife is, what a man would come home to, so he can, have her as a rest. Read 25.
Verse 25, where no hedge is there, the possession is spoiled, and he that have no wife will wander up and down mourning.
Yeah, so, even amongst Israel, because before, some brothers may not have a wife. I remember when I first came into truth, but, it's like a lot of brothers looking for a good woman or a good wife in this truth. So it just matches up with what that's saying. It's like a brother, brothers complaining about, not finding a woman, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what that's going into as well. What was the next? That was just the other precept. What was the next scripture?
Give me Genesis 3, verse 16.
Genesis 3, verse 16. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 16. Upon the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception, and sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee.
Exactly. He said the desire shall be unto her husband, and he shall rule over thee. It's not stating that he should be abusive, he should be a bad man, but he should rule over the woman's life, because she's there, like we said earlier, as his helpmeet, and everything she needs or wants to go through her husband. So in contrary to what it is today, it's kind of flipped. Everything is changed. No one's having a biblical relationship, and that's the downfall of many marriages today. Women said, a lot of women like, oh, you're not my dad, or you're not this, or you're not that. How can I do? Saying this is a lot of backwards type of relationships going on in this world, and in the states that the man shall rule over thee. Let's get a better illustration of that. Let's go over to 1 Corinthians 11 and 3. I know sometimes it's not, all of our faults. We're never taught this unless you're in the truth. A lot of us as men also, and women in the church, the kind of the relationship between man and women is flipped. You got the women in the pulpit and they're teaching men. So, we got to come back to the scriptures and do how the Most High wants.
Yeah. And it also goes back to the curses as well, because like the curses talk about man, leaving his household, so he's not ruling. Which I got a precept after that, but basically the man wouldn't be ruling the household. So even now, a lot of single mother homes. So the woman is now in charge of the children and everything that's going on. And we all know that's also the Planned Parenthood as well. 1 Corinthians 11 and 3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is a Hamashiach, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Hamashiach is the Most High.
So I wanted to illustrate right there was order. The Most High deals with order. And that's the only way how things is going to get accomplished. And if you align yourself with that divine order. See, we have the Mashiach over us, and the Mashiach has the Most High over him, and the woman has their heads, us as men, over them. So we have to align our relationships in that order, or if we don't, it's not going to work. But now, most of the time, you see the woman trying to be over the man, and then she put the kids over her, and then it's God. You know, it's all backwards. You know, they have no structure, most of these women out here in the world. So we have to come back to that, and you know, that's why I want to do that illustration showing the divine order. Now that we have that, you want to bring something else out before I go on?
Just read 8 and 9 real quick.
Okay, come on. It says, verse 8, for the man is not for the man, for the man is not for the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man.
Yeah, so just going back to, you know, the whole order of things, as far as going back to Adam, you know, how Eve was made for Adam, everything like that is just showing like the order, and then going back to the whole thing about a woman being a possession. You know, that was pretty much it.
Yeah, and we're going to show what the Most High is dealing with. He deals with a particular person first. Go to Ezekiel 34 and 31.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 34, verse 31. And ye, my flock, the flock of my pasture are men, and I'm your power, saith the Most High.
Say that again. Who's this flock?
Are men.
Men. He's dealing with the men. Keep going.
And I am your power, saith the Most High.
Said the Most High. So he's dealing with the men first. So, like we said, had the lesson earlier last week about what a godly man looks like. This relationship goes hand in hand. The men have to be in order with the Mashiach and the Most High, because he's dealing with them first. But if they're not in line, he can't possibly lead the household and his woman. So the man has greater importance than anybody, but the woman must submit herself unto her husband as he's getting the instructions from the Mashiach and the Most High. Khan?
Salakia. Get real quick, 1 Timothy 3 and 4 real quick. Kind of go hand in hand with that and with something we brought out.
You said 1 Timothy?
Yeah, 1 Timothy 3 and 4 real quick.
The book of 1 Timothy. 3, verse 4.
Yeah, 3.
Well, his house, having his children in subjection with all gravity. For if a man know not how to rule his house, how shall he take care of the church of the Most High?
Yeah, so just going back to he will rule over thee in Genesis, but just showing the order as a saying that a man will have to rule his own household. So that's the order of things, that a man should rule his own household. Now, obviously, every man is not doing that, which we know. That's why we did the class last week. You know, how a godly man should be, how he should carry himself. But that's the order, that a man is supposed to be over the household, and we just read that the man is over the woman. Obviously, he's over the children as well. So that's the order of things, that the man rules his household. He's the one in charge. Yeah, that's you. You have something to say on that?
There's one more precept on that. Give me Numbers 27 and 16. Just kind of give another precept on what you brought out.
It's the book of Numbers 27:16.
Come on.
Let the Most High, the power of spirits of all flesh, set a man over the congregation.
Yeah. He set the man to be over a congregation. That's why we left, like the last scripture we had, it was, the Most High is dealing with the men to be strong, to lead and to teach in his household. And so, further bringing out scripture, who the Most High is dealing with, who he wants as his teachers and his mentors and strength in his kingdom. You said you want to bring something?
Nah.
Oh, let's jump over to 1 Corinthians 14 and start at 35. Now we're going to get into the things that is expected of a woman. So a lot of times women, if you wasn't raised in the truth or, don't really have proper guidance, you're not knowing what your role is as a wife or a woman in Yasha Allah.
1 Corinthians 14, verse 34. It says, let your women keep silence in the churches, for it is not permitted unto them to speak, but they are commanded to be under obedience, as also saith the law.
Saith the law. We didn't make this up. The law said that they should be silent in obedience. And who is she being obedient to? Her husband. Because he is the Godhead of the household. She has to be in submission to him. Whatever he says goes. There's no going back and forth. Even if you disagree, you don't disagree with him in front of anybody. That's supposed to be a thing y'all go home to and y'all talk it out. But whatever he says, you're supposed to roll with it. It has to be in full submission and obedience. And it said also, saith the law. The law says that. Keep going.
No. And if they will learn anything, let them ask their husband at home, for it is a shame for women to speak in the church.
I just brought that out. If she has any questions, she go home and ask her husband. And that's the illustration of full submission to her husband. You don't go ask another ak or go ask somebody else. You're supposed to go to your husband and ask him questions. I didn't have any understanding about this. Can you please show me? And then you allow your husband, okay, if he doesn't have the answer, he can go somewhere else.
Yeah. So
his brother to get an answer.
I think we think of that Martin episode. You remember when Gina, she needed money and she went to ask Cole, and he's like, he didn't have the money, but he would have went and got the money and played like he had it. You know what I'm saying? So it just made me think of that, like a woman going to another man, asking for money instead of her own husband, or so it's like the same thing. If a brother didn't know a certain question, he could go research and and come back with the answer. She doesn't have to necessarily go to somebody, you know what I'm saying, like another man for those answers.
That's exactly right. She's supposed to be an understanding of all things of her husband. And I know, it comes to practice because, a lot of women are not used to that. We all come into this truth, and it's something that we have to reset our old mindset. You have to do away with the old man and bring in a new. This is a new culture, a new way of life. So we're not going to be too hurtful and harsh on the women if she didn't get it. But this is what these classes are for, so they can understand their roles as women, as well as the man of his place in the role as the head of the household. You got something to add?
Nah.
So give me 1 Timothy 2 and start at 9. So right now I'm just illustrating what a godly woman looks like and her role as a woman, a wife.
book of 1 Timothy, chapter 2, verses 9. In like manner also that women adorn themselves in modest apparel with shamefacedness and sobriety, not with broidered hair or gold or pearls or costly array, but which becometh women professing godliness with good works.
You have to change the way your appearance. You know, no more jeans, no more looking like a man. You know, that got to be done away with. No showing cleavage, no showing thighs. You know, a lot of us women want attention. You know, it's a new walk you entering in as a woman. You can't get respect for not only from you disrespect your husband, especially if you walk out like that. Because especially if you claim you're Israel and somebody catch you out there with everything jiggling, you know, no one's gonna really have any respect for you. That's why the Most High said you have to have modest apparel. You have to represent not only your husband, and also you got to represent the Most High. You know, he doesn't want you to be looking like that, looking like a HOE on a whole stroll. You know, that's not how you're supposed to be. Keep going.
Yeah, so Salaki, and then just kind of like you saying, like it also embarrasses your husband as well, because it's like well, we'll get that later, Proverbs 31. But you know, a virtuous woman, you know, shall be talked about. You know what I'm saying? So if you're contrary to that, then you know that's the negativity that's going to be coming out, and then it's going to be on the husband. You know, and that's some of the scriptures. Well, we can also get that in a minute, but just you know, the scripture says a wicked woman is given portion to a wicked man. You know, so also it can be twofold in the aspect of a man you know, allowing that, which, yeah, a lot of these men do allow, well, not talking about the truth per se, but like, you know, men in the world allowing their women to dress all type of whorish. And then, you know, man looking, they want to get mad, you know, but you let your woman come out here half naked, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's what it is. So,
yeah, that's actually put, because a lot of women doesn't see how that can, you know, anger your man. You're hanging out with all these fellas and your woman walk by and she has things showing out. The first thing he's gonna do, he's gonna get jealous if he's seeing men eyeing his woman. And that brings anger into a man. Now he's gonna get jealous, and now he's gonna act not as himself because he's trying to protect you and try to get these other men to not look at you. So you want to dead all that and be modest. So if a man is staring at you, there's something wrong with him. If he's staring at a nice, well put together, covered up woman and he's still gawking at her, then you know something's wrong with that brother. So
yeah, just the term shamefaced is like, yeah, just being in a quiet, like a meek, you know, embarrassed, you know, shy spirit, you know what I'm saying? So that's how like a woman is supposed to be. It says shamefaced. You know, shameless is the contrary. That's why the scripture says shameless woman shall be counted as a dog or quote unquote bitch, you know. But that's, you know, that's what is the term now, but that's what the scriptures say, you know. So you know, a woman like that is contrary to being quiet, shy, like the scriptures say. She's loud, she knoweth nothing, you know what I'm saying? So shameless versus shamefaced. Verse 11.
Let me touch on something else too, and it says sobriety. And you know, our women don't supposed to be out in the streets drunk. You know, that's not how a godly woman is supposed to be out there drinking and acting ignorant. You know, so that's the other thing I want to say is saying same face and sobriety, and not with braided hair or gold. You know, not trying to be too much, not trying to have too much attention brought onto her.
Yeah, the appearance.
Yes, the appearance. You know, being modest. Just be yourself. You can be pretty. I'm not trying to say women can't be looking nice. And I see our women, they look nice, but you're not trying to overdo it. You're trying to get more attention brought on to you.
That Jezebel spirit, basically.
Ah,
Yeah. So
go ahead, verse 11.
verse 11. Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection, but I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence.
A woman shouldn't be no authority to a man. You shouldn't be saying, shut up. It's none of those things. You should never say that to your man. That's absorbing authority to your man. Like, you're the head now. And that damaged the man's ego. It damaged the man's pride when a woman stands up and tells him to shut up. I mean, even a man shouldn't tell that to his woman, but it's even hurtful for a woman to tell that to her man, especially if it's a lot of people around. That's very hurtful for a man's pride. And that can cause him to be angry, and that can cause a lot of problems in relationships. That's why the Most High have the way he has it designed exactly how he has it to be designed. The woman is to be under the man, and the man is to be over her. No way, no how is she supposed to have some authority over him. Keep going on.
For Adam was first formed, then Eve, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression.
That's it on that. Yeah, that's it on that. But yeah, it's kind of illustrated that because the woman, talking about Eve, when she was tempted and she deceived her man, she had a way of having rulership over him, caused him to fall into the trap. Because she observed some kind of authority over Adam, and he fell right into the trap. And then he ate of the forbidden fruit, just like her. So that was 1 Timothy
2:9. Get 1 Peter 3. Start at 3.
Come on. Start at the top.
Start at verse 3. All right.
Said 1 Peter what?
Start. Yeah, you could just get to the point. Or the point I'm trying to get at. Start at verse 3. 1 Peter 3:3.
Book of 1 Peter, chapter 3, verse 3. Whose adorning let it not be that outward adorning of planting the hair and wearing of gold, or putting on of apparel.
Yeah, so again, the same thing that's being spoken of in Timothy is spoken of in Peter. That outward appearance, make sure your inside is, what's fresh, a fly, so to speak. But, a lot of women, putting that outward appearance on themselves to be, whether it's to be seen by people, seen of men, and that's what it shouldn't be. Go ahead.
But let it be the hidden man of the heart, and that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of the Most High of great price.
So yeah, having a meek and quiet spirit is great unto the Most High. So I know a lot of women hate that, they don't want to be quiet in certain aspects, but that's what the Most High said. That's a great thing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, like, running your mouth all the time, that's contrary to what the Most High asks for the women. Keep going.
You ain't my daddy.
Yeah.
For after this manner in the old time, the holy women also, who trusted in the Most High, adorned themselves, being in subjection unto their own husbands.
So being in subjection to their own husband, just like we read in 1 Timothy. Go ahead.
Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord.
She called him what?
Calling him Lord. Whose daughters ye are, as long as ye do well and are not afraid with any amazement.
Yeah, so it's like, I know that might be a hard task as well for women to call their man Lord. husband Lord, but I know women say, yeah, we're the daughters of Sarah and daughters of Zion, but yeah, I'm not calling him Lord, or I'm not, what I'm saying. So, that's kind of a off spirit, which we just read again. A meek and quiet spirit is great to the Most High. So, yeah, daughters of Sarah, daughters of Zion. These are kind of the things that you should model yourself after as being daughters of Sarah. Following our foremothers and how they act towards their husband, because obviously there's many examples of women that went contrary to that and they were shunned. You know what I'm saying? So, but then you have a lot of righteous women that had, husbands by them, and they did right by them. Read verse 7.
Oops. Hold on, get back there. Seven. Likewise, ye husbands dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife, as unto the weaker vessel, and as being hearers together of grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered.
Yeah, so dwell with them with knowledge unto the weaker vessel. So just again showing the order of things. What was the next one?
Give me Titus 2, start at 3. And this is the reason why our women have to be in subjection, not only for yourself, but we're going to see in a moment.
And this is the book of Titus. Said 2 and 3.
Yeah.
The aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things.
Keep going.
That they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet.
Sorry, Flocking.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're not, the women, just like the men, we have to teach our young men how to be men. Also, the women have to teach the younger women have to be wives and how to act a certain way. So they have a double responsibility, because what a girl see her mom do, she's gonna do. You see that time to time, all the time. You see young girls, you see the mom, twerking, whatever, and you see the video, you see the girl, she's twerking right along with her mother. So the girl gonna do exactly what the wife is gonna do. So she has to have those qualities as a woman, because not only, that young woman gonna grow up to be someone's wife, so she has to observe some kind of subjection unto her husband, so her daughter can see that and have a good example. Keep going on.
To be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of the Most High be not blasphemed.
Come on.
Yeah.
She has to be keepers of the home to her own husband, so she doesn't, your walk, and that's what's a good responsibility. Before you even think about becoming married to someone, you gotta understand that you're in full submission of your husband, and you have to do whatever he tells you to do. A lot of women get into these marriages and they have no idea what a wife's responsibility. So when a man tell her what he wants out of her, and then it's a fight. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this. I shouldn't have to do that. I shouldn't have to do that. Well, I work, so I don't have to do that. No, the Most High said you in all submission unto your husband. Mm-hmm. All submission. It's not because you make a certain amount of money, you don't have to do certain things as a wife. That is out. Because now you're teaching your daughter the same thing. Oh, well, you don't have to be, you don't have to cook, you don't have to do nothing once you make a certain amount of money, or you doing this or you doing that. That's a wrong type of attitude to have towards marriage. But that's not the divine order of what the Most High wants when it comes to marriage. Keep going on that.
Young men likewise exhort to be sober-minded.
Con. So we have to be in the right mind also. Like to say, if the man is right, the woman will follow. And so they go hand in hand. Give me, you have something to bring out before I move on?
Go to Sirach 25 real quick.
25 and what?
Start at 8.
The book of Sirach, chapter 25, verse 8. Well is him that dwelleth with a wife of understanding, and that have not slipped with his tongue, and that have not served a man more unworthy than himself.
Yeah, so just going back to the last two scriptures we brought out, a man should dwell with a wife of understanding. You know what I'm saying? So that's a wife of understanding with no those things that we just read in Titus, about being, obedient to our husband, and that's, what we read about how it's the law, things like that. Drop down to verse 16.
Verse 16. I had rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman.
So yeah, it's better to dwell with a lion. This is what was named Yahushua is saying, that he rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than keep house with a wicked woman. So like, yeah, keeping house with a wicked woman, if a woman is contrary to everything we said, being meek, quiet, you know what I'm saying? The man doesn't want to come to a home where it's just a bunch of chaos. Again, like the scriptures say, he wants to come home to a pillar of rest. All right, you can drop down to 21.
Verse 21. Stubble not at the beauty of a woman, and desire her not for pleasure. A woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impudence, and much reproach.
Yeah, so if a woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impudence, and much reproach. So if she maintain, so that means basically she's the one controlling everything. She maintain her husband. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's contrary. Yeah, yeah. Like, yeah, like she take care of him. All of that kind of stuff. Because that's the mindset a lot of women have. They paying everything, which again that goes also for a man, to make sure he's together. But if a woman is paying for everything, and she like he was bringing out that she make more money or whatever the case is, that's gonna make her more high-minded in the aspect of, yeah, I control him because I make the most money. I'm the one controlling this household. Read 23.
Verse 23. A wicked woman abateth the courage, maketh a heavy countenance and a wounded heart. A woman that will not comfort her husband is distressed, maketh weak hands and feeble knees.
Yeah, so a woman that comfort not her husband. So if she's not that help meet, that rest, yeah, he's going, yeah, weak hands, feeble knees. He probably not even gonna want to come home to that house. So that's why I say, yeah, he'd rather dwell with a lion than to come home to a wicked woman. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, just wanted to bring out that precept.
Yeah, well said. Man, I want to come home to, like we said earlier, she's supposed to be his rest. When he comes home, he wants rest. He don't want to come home and have to fight another battle at home. After being at work and getting cussed out by his boss, or getting talked about in the streets and getting harassed by cops, and then he has to go round 3 with his wife. That's not what that's not pleasurable unto a man. You see a lot of men that spend a whole lot of time at bars because he don't want to go straight home because the wife is not his peace. Give me Ezekiel 16, 44.
Yeah, 16:34. 44.
44. Come.
Book of Ezekiel, chapter 16, verse 44. Behold, everyone that useth proverbs shall use this proverbs against thee, saying, as is the mother, so is her daughter.
That's what I brought out earlier. As is the mother, so is her daughter. That's another thing. This example, I wanted to bring that piece up earlier, but I just brought it up now. So this is scripture to back that up. Now jump to Proverbs 7 and 10.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 7, verse 10. And behold, there met him a woman with the attire of a harlot and subtle
Attire of a harlot, which we brought out earlier, of how a woman should not dress, because you look like a harlot, which is a hoish type of apparel. Keep going.
She is loud and stubborn; her feet abide not in her house.
Salakia, loud and stubborn, which our women are, quote unquote, loud and it's a description of what our women are people say about our women. Black women, she's loud, obnoxious, she's talk back, and and you see, this is why I don't mess with black women. A lot of weak brothers say that. And keep going.
Now is she without, now in the streets, and lieth in wait at every corner.
God, this woman is not dealing anything that's in her house. She's in the streets and waiting at every corner. You see a lot of women that's always at the club, never at home, never doing any of the concern at home, not even cooking. And then she feels that the only thing she has to do is to give her man sex, and she has to do nothing else. But keep going.
So she caught him and kissed him, and with an impudent face said unto him, I have peace offerings with me this day. I paid my vows. Therefore came I forth to meet thee diligently, to seek thy face, and I have found thee.
God. So, that was it on that. But yeah, I kind of want to go that far. But, just saying that's the attire of a woman and her behavior. That is not what a godly man, a woman is supposed to be. She's supposed to be in the street corner hanging out, hanging out with the girls at the strip. I mean, a lot of women go to strip clubs. Has no has no inclinations of being at home and dealing with the kids. You just want to be out in the street. As soon as she get paid, she out there getting her hair whipped up and going to the club.
Yeah, getting fancy.
Getting fancy, huh?
Hey, get Hosea 2 and 5 real quick.
The book of Hosea, chapter 2, verse 5. For their mother have played the harlot. She that conceived them have done shamefully. For she said, I will go after my lovers that give me my bread and my water, my wool and my flax, my oil and my drink.
Salakia. Read that the first part again.
For their mother have played the harlot. She that conceived them have done shamefully.
So the mother, in this kind of, it's twofold, but just like you brought out in Ezekiel, so is the mother, so is the daughter. So yeah, she's learning that stuff from her mother, but also it's like, the harlot aspect, even unto this day, you got women that, they're dealing with different type of men, and they're dealing with this man because he could do this, the his, sex, quote unquote, sex game is good with him, but he buy me this, you know what I'm saying? So they got different lovers. Also, this not really the topic, but the polygamy thing. This also would show that whole thing as far as women, when women ask, uh, can women do it? You know what I'm saying? Like it's showing that's a harlot. That's a harlot that has multiple lovers. And the scripture call it adulteress as well. But to go hand in hand with it saying like the mother had played the harlot, because when you verse 1, it says, say ye unto your brethren, Ami, and to your sisters, Ramahama, plead with your mother, for she is not my wife, neither am I her husband. Let her therefore put away her whoredoms out of her sight and her adulteries from between her breasts. Because a lot of times the Most High compare it. When you read Jeremiah, I believe it's the 3rd chapter, basically Judah and Israel are like his wives per se. So he's always comparing us to a woman and or sisters. So, like just going hand in hand with what you were bringing out in Ezekiel 16 about how the mother is acting, the daughter is acting, and then the other deeper thing as far as, women dealing with multiple men.
Yeah, no sugar daddies,
Yeah.
Like that's talking about her and her sugar daddy, dudes that's gonna give her that bread and that drink.
Yeah.
Bring it. Did I go to Proverbs? Give me Proverbs 17. Give me Deuteronomy 22 and 5.
22. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22, verse 5. The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a woman put on a man put on a woman's garment, for all that do so are an abomination unto the Most High thy power.
So I just want to illustrate that. A woman can't wear what pertains of a man. And I like how fair the Most High is. He brings a man into it too. What pertains of a woman. So, so with that being said, give me Sirach 36 and 24. Is that it?
So 36. Yeah, we did 36 and 24 and 25.
You did that already?
Yeah.
Okay. Salakia, give me 1 Corinthians 7 and 1. You read that too?
Let me see.
1 Corinthians 7 and 1. It's the book of 1 Corinthians 7, verse 1.
Read down to 5.
Now concerning the things whereof you wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman, nevertheless to avoid fornication. Let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband.
Go ahead.
Let the husband render unto the woman due benevolence, and likewise also the wife unto the husband. The wife have not power over her own body, but the husband, and likewise also the husband hath not power over his own body, but the wife.
Read that one more time. Start from the top.
Okay, now concerning the things whereof you wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman.
No. Sorry, Salakia. 4. Start.
Okay, the wife have not power over her own body.
Stop right there. A wife doesn't have power over her own body, and sometimes a lot of women they use what they have to get what they want. You know, you heard that term before. A lot of women use what they have to control the man. You don't have any power over your own body. Once you have a husband, your body is not just your own. You know, if the woman, if the man, let me bring it out. If you're dealing with a man and you already know how he is physically, I'm going to try to be clean as possible. Physically, you know what he wants. But then when you get married, then you just stop giving it to him and you expect things to be all right. It's not going to happen like that. You must know who you're getting involved with, because you have no power over, you don't have no power over your own body. That's for your husband. And if he demands what he demands, you gotta follow suit. You can't have any limitations. Oh, not this week because this or because of that. I mean, only for uncleanliness. That's the obvious. But for a woman, you can't be trying to use your body to control your man. And neither your husband. You can't do that either. He can't hold out on you also. Now keep going.
Verse 5, defraud ye not one the other, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourself to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your contentancy.
Yeah, God. It's like the scripture said. If only for time for prayer. But if you let it go on for too long, most men, to be honest, has a wandering eye. And as a woman of God, you must know that. You have to fulfill the man's needs, because he is going to wander. Not because he feels like he's a dog or he can't control himself, but you're a man. And that's your job to fulfill that duty. Is there anything else you want to bring on that? Marcus?
Nah. My rib has a precept, I think.
Bring it over.
She says she can't find it right now. But that's on point. What'd you say?
You gotta be quick on the sword.
Quick on the sword. But that's you brought it out.
Okay, give me Sirach chapter 26 and start at 13. Sirach 26:13.
Read one real quick for me, and then I'll bring that up.
What is it?
26:1.
Sirach?
Yeah.
The book of Sirach, chapter 26, verse 1. Blessed is the man that hath a virtuous wife, for the number of his days shall be doubled.
Yeah, so blessed is the man that have a virtuous wife, for his days shall be numbered, or shall be doubled. Salaki. And because we gonna get to Proverbs 31, but yeah, like it's hard to get a virtuous woman. All women are striving to be that. But even the scriptures say, who can find a virtuous woman? That means it's someone that's being virtuous is just on another level. You know what I'm saying? Keep going.
Verse 2, a virtuous woman rejoices her husband, and he shall fulfill the years of his life in peace.
Yeah, so just like we've been bringing out, that a wife is a rest unto her husband. So he's gonna come home. His life is gonna be peaceful. It's not gonna be all chaotic. Him having to correct her all the time. She just gonna know her role. He gonna know his role. That's it. No. It might be some rough patches here and there, but for the most part, everything is kept in order. Keep going.
What, verse 3?
Yeah.
A good wife is a good portion, which shall be given in the portion of them that fear the Lord. Whether a man be rich or poor, if you say something?
So like, no, that was it on that. Yeah, a good wife is a good portion which shall be given to them that fear the Most High. So yeah, that's also why a man has to be on point with his walk as well. So he he doesn't have to deal with a wicked woman, per se, you know.
Oh.
So like just a few more. Drop down to verse 9. I like this chapter though.
Verse 9. The whoredom.
So like verse 7, my fault.
Verse 7. An evil wife is a yoke shaken to and fro. He that hath hold of her is as though he held a scorpion. A drunken woman in a gather abroad causeth great anger, and she will not cover her own shame. The whoredom of a woman may be known in her haughty looks and eyelids.
Yeah, so all of that going together, like an evil wife is a yoke shaken to and fro, and it's like, if you have that, it's like as if you held a scorpion, which that's gonna sting. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, like, women have to be on point, have to again come with that meek spirit, that quiet spirit, that obedient. Drunken women. We just went back to that. Woman shouldn't be drinking, or she would be in sobriety. All of those things go hand in hand. And the whoredom of a woman may be in her haughty looks and eyelids. So we just read that in Proverbs in regards to like the attire of a harlot. Being haughty, because the scriptures say the daughters of Zion haughty, Isaiah the 3rd chapter. You know what I'm saying? So, menacing as they walk and everything like that. All right, so I'm gonna drop down. I'm gonna read 13, right?
In the same chapter. Mine is 13. Go ahead.
The grace of a wife delighteth her husband, and her discretion will fatten his bones.
Keep going.
A silent and loving woman is a gift of the Most High, and there is nothing so much worth a mind well instructed.
So women, it's not a lot of women. You like, it seems like I can't say nothing. I'm supposed to be silent. He's supposed to talk. I'm supposed to listen. But it's not saying that like you got to be a mute. It's not saying that at all. It's saying that if the woman let the man lead as if he's supposed to, everything will flow. Everything will flow. If the man is in his word and he's doing what he's supposed to do, and he's taking care of the household and he's giving you biblical instructions, just let him lead. Let him do what the Most High is telling him to do as a man. He created him for that, and he's creating you for a role also. If those roles combine and mesh with how the Most High wants, man, nations could be strong. We have a lot of problems in our community with one another because we don't have this aspect down pat. We're fighting each other more so building with each other. And the only way we can build with one another is if we give ourselves the proper biblical respect like the Most High wants. Keep going on that.
A shamefaced and faithful woman is a double grace, and her continent mind cannot be valued.
Yes, it can't be valued. Like you said, you're not, you can't be used. Our brothers right now feeling like they can go to other nations and live right and have great households and I can't deal with a sister this, a sister that. But he's not willing to take the time and come back to these statutes, laws, and commandments and do it right. We're in a time period right now with a lot of uncertainty going on. Should we stay here? Should we leave? Should we rebuild somewhere else and start a nation there? Or, but we got to have these relationships down pat before we do anything. Because if we leave and go somewhere else and start a whole nother life and we haven't checked ourselves at the door, according to these scriptures, the same problem is going to happen there to our new place. And if we still not going to have any order, we still not going to have things right, and things is not going to not go well. So we have to check ourselves. This is the reason why we're doing the study. Men and women have to check themselves and live and play their role biblically, so our nation could be stronger. Because if you can imagine our brothers and sisters living their godly roles, and women being submitted under their husband, and men are really leading the nation how they're supposed to, you can imagine how strong our nation will be. Khan?
Everybody on mute, but
well, you know, they hear me out there.
nah, but read drop down to verse 26. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, what you saying?
You said 26?
23.
23. Verse 23. A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man, but a godly woman is given to him that fears the Lord.
Yeah, so just going back to, you know, again, a man got to be on point as well, too, and not to say that, yeah, if you have a wicked woman and you doing all you can, because yeah, there's times where yeah, a woman is just wicked, you know, it's not you going off or nothing, you didn't try to give her the scriptures or whatever the case is, and you know she's just, that's what it is. That's why the scripture says she be pleased to dwell with you. Eventually either she's gonna leave you because yeah, it's too much and he trying to control me, whatever, or she's gonna understand, you know, the culture of her being an Israelite. This is how, you know, our Hebrew mothers were, and she's gonna get in line to that, or she's just gonna, you know, leave that. But you know, also again, it goes to the man as well. Like again, we brought that lesson out last week of how a man is supposed to carry himself. Go ahead. Or 24.
24. A dishonest woman contempteth shame, but a honest woman will reverence her husband.
Yeah, go ahead.
A shameless woman shall be counted as a dog, but she that is shamefaced will fear the Most High.
Yeah, so just how we were saying, how shamefaced means to be modest, shy, bashful, you know, meek. All of those things is a shamefaced woman, but a shameless woman shall be counted as a dog. Yeah, go ahead.
Verse 26. A woman that honoreth her husband shall be judged wise of all, but she that dishonoreth him in her pride shall be counted ungodly of all.
So yeah, just like saying earlier, how a woman, yeah, she's gonna be looked at, and that's gonna be embarrassing to her husband. But if she's honoring her husband, she's doing the right thing, she's gonna get noticed. You know, okay, yeah, that sister, she's a, you know, she's a great sister. You know, and everyone in Israel is gonna know her, you know, as a good woman. Or the contrary aspect of that is her embarrassing her husband, and she's gonna be talked about. You know, she's gonna be considered an ungodly of all. Okay. Read verse 27.
Verse 27. A loud crying woman and a scold shall be sought out to drive away the enemies.
Yeah, so just going back to, even though we brought that earlier about the loud woman, yeah. So she gonna drive away your enemies, you know. So yeah, that was it on that though.
Gone. Well said. Let's go into 1 Timothy 5 and 14.
Yeah, this is the book of 1 Timothy 5 and 14 says, I will therefore that the young women marry their children, guide the house, give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully.
Yeah, this is the precept to what you brought out already.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want to bring up that precept, you know, so she's supposed to speak a certain way. Give me Titus 2 and 3.
Oh, you wanted to do that one again?
Oh, I did already? So like it. All right, let's go to Proverbs 31. I'm trying to say that for last, but let's just jump into it. Because a lot of women always thinking that, they're going to get a rich guy and they don't have to do anything, or, the man should take care of everything and I should just be at home. So this scripture, kind of breaks it, the whole role of a wife and her responsibilities. Give me Proverbs 31.
And it's showing like the help me actions. Like it shows how a woman, basically she's not just supposed to be at home chilling, doing nothing. It's like actually being a help me. It's that's the definition of being a help me is helping the household.
You want to start at 10?
Yeah, start at 10. Who can find a virtuous woman, for a price is far above rubies?
That's rare. It's a rare quality, a virtuous woman. It's something that could be attainable, but her price, as we're saying, is far above rubies. That's how important it is for her role to be. That's how precious she is for any nation. It's the woman to be in submission and be a virtuous woman. Go ahead.
The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he have need of a spoil.
Go ahead.
She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. So just going back to what I read in Sirach 26, about a virtuous, blessed is he that have a virtuous woman, because his days will be numbered, or his days will be doubled. So that going hand in hand with that. She seeketh wool and flax, she seeketh wool and flax and worketh willingly with her hands. She is like the merchant ship. She bringeth her food from afar.
This is showing her that she's actually working and bringing stuff into the household. Not just the man. She's also putting her efforts in also too. Go ahead.
She raiseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household and a portion to her maidens. So she working that overtime basically. Like she riseth while it's yet night and giveth meat to her household and portion to her maidens. She considereth a field and buyeth it. With the fruit of her hands, she planteth a vineyard. She guardeth her loins with strength and strengtheneth her arms. She perceived that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. She stretcheth out her hand to the poor. Yea, she reacheth forth her hand to the needy. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple. Her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth. Her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land. She maketh fine linen and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She opened her mouth with wisdom, and her tongue is the law of kindness.
So just by that, the couple of scriptures that you just read, I see a lot of women that says Proverb 31 woman. Yeah. It's a lot of responsibility if you want to put that Proverb 31 on your Instagram page. But a woman, she's working with her hands. She's not sitting back and letting her man do all the work. Probably her man was probably in war or he's somewhere far working, but she's making sure the household's okay. You know what I'm saying? She's not marrying a billionaire where she just sit back and do nothing and just collect and spend money. This is a woman that's good with her hands. This is a woman that's making sure she take care of her home and she's growing food and she's making linen. She's a hardworking woman. Go ahead, up. Verse 27.
Yeah, 27. She looketh well to the ways of her household and eateth not the bread of idleness. So yeah, she eateth not the bread of idleness, like lazy, not doing nothing. So yeah, all these things consist of a virtuous woman. Her children arise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praiseth her. My many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Most High shall be praised.
Huh.
So yeah, like earlier, with the what we just read, the various scriptures like First Timothy, about the appearance of a woman, make sure she's in godliness, and the last one is Sirach about, haughty looks, and stuff like that, or stumble not the beauty of a woman. So yeah, it's more so, a woman is supposed to be on point with keeping the commandments and dealing well with her husband, and everything that is being spoken of right here that makes a virtuous woman. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates.
God. That's a Proverbs 31 woman. So a lot of women
they read verse 10 and then
and stop at that, But yeah, it's a hard work to be a woman, a Proverbs 31 woman. So you got to really examine yourself, and you can't look down on your man because you're doing X, Y, and Z, and you feel he's not doing enough. Even if he's working, he's not making a certain amount of income. But our women we can't have that type of nature. Everyone has a job. We're not saying in these scriptures that a woman has to do everything this woman was doing, but that's just a clear description of how hard of a worker the women have to be. And just like the man got to work just as hard. We're all in this together, and it's that whole, it's not quite 50-50 because the man is supposed to be above her. He's supposed to rule over her. And, we don't have that type of partnership when it comes to marriage in Israel. A man will always be over a woman. A woman won't have the same authority as the man. This is we're trying to bring out. And once you understand that aspect of what was required of you as a wife, then you will stop, the bucking up and fighting because you think that we're supposed to be on the same level, the same playing field. It's not that way. The man is supposed to be over the woman. He's supposed to give all the rules over the household. He rules. That's his God-given right to rule over his household. Because if he can't rule his household, he can't be a teacher out in Yasha Allah. Because it will show. If you're not having everybody in your house in subjection, it will show out in the street. Oh, well, how can I listen to you, man? You got, you can't even get your things in your house in order. No one listens to you. And your wife, she's doing whatever she want to do. She's dressing all modest, and so everything go hand in hand when it comes to men and women. And we're just trying to illustrate that and show that everything has a divine order, and we need that divine order to move forward in Yasha Allah. So if we need classes like this often, not just 1 or 2 times. Sometimes we have to check ourselves all the time because we forget. We forget, and we stop, striving to be better as men and women. The man, he stopped thinking, especially now, the man think he owe everything, and he doesn't, do what he's supposed to do, and then he's treating the women not so good. He's being over her, but he's not praising her at the same time. It's a balance. Is there anything else you want to bring out?
Nah, that's good. That was good.
Let me see. I think I got. Give me Numbers 30 and start at 3 through 16. So this is I'm about to bring out now is an illustration of how the relationship with a daughter to her husband, to her father, and it's to translate into when she marries her husband. So start at verse 3, Numbers 30, verse 3.
If a woman also vow a vow unto the Most High and bid herself by bond, being in her father's house in her youth, and her father heareth her vow and her bond wherewith she had bond her soul, and her father shall hold his peace at her, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she had bound her soul shall stand. But if her father disallow her in the day that he heareth not any of her vows or of her bonds wherewith she hath bond her soul, shall stand, and the Most High shall forgive her because her father disallowed her.
Her father had authority over her at this point. So whatever she wanted and he didn't agree with it, then he said, no, la'ah. And then, saying it was such. But keep going.
And if she had at all a husband when she vowed or uttereth aught out of her lips, wherewith she bound her soul, and her husband heard it, and held his peace at her in the day that he heard it, then her vows shall stand, and her bonds wherewith she bound her soul shall stand.
Keep going.
But if her husband disallow her on the day that he heard it, then he shall make her utter with her lips, wherewith she bound her soul, and none effect, and the Most High shall forgive her.
Her husband had that authority now. That is, establishing who's having authority over the wife at this point. At first, it was her husband, so she should have the same type of authority. First it was her father, now is her husband. She should have the same type. The husband should have the same type of authority that she had for her father, for her husband. Keep going.
But every vow of a widow of her that is divorced, wherewith they have bound their soul, shall stand against her. And if she vowed in her husband's house, or bound her soul by bond with the oath, and her husband heard it, and held his peace at her, and disallowed her not, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she bond her soul shall stand.
Go ahead.
But if her husband have utterly made them void on the day he heard them, then whatsoever proceedeth out of her lips concerning her vows or concerning the bond of her soul shall not stand. Her husband hath made them void, and the Most High shall forgive her.
Keep going.
And every vow and every binding oath to afflict the soul, her husband may establish it, or her husband may make it void.
See, explain it again.
Yeah.
It's up to her husband. Up to her husband to make stuff valid and void. You know what I'm saying? So once again, it's illustrating the important role of the husband and how much authority he has over his wife. Now keep going.
But if her husband altogether hold his peace at her from day to day, then he established all her vows or all her bonds which are upon her. He confirmed them because he held his peace at her in the day that he heard them. But if he shall any ways make them void after that he have heard them, then he shall bear her iniquity. these are the statutes which the Most High commanded Moses between a man and his wife, between the father and his daughter, being yet in her youth in her father's house.
So that, that was an illustration of the authority that the man have over his wife. The same as the man of the father has over his daughter is when she gets married, she's now subjected under her husband. So nothing changes. So when a woman marries her husband and he tell her something to do and she said, "Oh no, you're not my father," your dad just lost his authority over you. Now your authority is over, your husband is your authority. So yeah, you have to listen to your husband. You have to subject your husband up. You have to subject yourself onto your husband. There's no way around that. So women, we have a role. You guys have a role. And I know some women be like, "Oh my God, I can't do nothing. These men have too much power over me. I don't feel like being involved with this." But it's for the better good. We're not saying you have to be a slave. You can't talk. You can't be yourself. But it don't take no time to just listen to what your husband says, because the Most High is dealing with him. The Most High is dealing with him. A righteous man you should listen to. And I understand there's men out there that's not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're not working. They're treating you horrible. Those are not the men that you're supposed to be submitting to or getting involved with, because you're supposed to check the spirit of a man before you marry him. And righteously, you're supposed to take him to your father, and he's supposed to give the approval. Then he allowed to marry you. So it's all order into this whole marriage thing. So if your father approves of him, most likely he's going to be a good guy, because the father knows what to look for, what kind of guy he wants his daughter to be with. So is there anything else you want to bring up?
This is Sirach 22:5. It says, "She that is bold dishonoreth both her father and her husband, but they both shall despise her." So, just going hand in hand with the vow, it's the father and the husband have, that control. Like, obviously, the man, because the father has watched the daughter, train her, and everything like that, and he keeps close eyes. So he's just handing her off to, and like we brought out earlier, how it's a possession, because a man, he deals with the father. He must pay a certain amount to take the daughter if it's approved by the father, So, but if she's, wicked, or she's, not a virgin, or any of those things, that could look bad on the father. You know what I'm saying? But also, it could look bad on the husband as well. But yeah, a bold woman dishonoreth her husband. So yeah, even going back to what we were saying with being a woman should be meek, and quiet spirit, shamefaced it, because a bold woman is, we know that's loud, bossy, all of that kind of stuff is, what bold means and how some of our women are. But yeah, that was it.
God.